Your ATV Friday movie tonight is The Guardian.
Hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing.
Hey, an early Easter egg hunt. You gonna tell these guys they got the wrong day? I don't think so. Welcome to our zoo tonight, live at 5.
Now, from the ATV News Center at every city and town in the Maritimes, this is the ATV Evening News, live at 5.
Good evening, everyone. It is Good Friday, April 1st. I'm Nancy Regan.
And I'm Paul Meunier. And religious observances are among the stories we are covering on this holiday edition of Live at 5.
I'm Janice Landry in Halifax. The Jewish holiday of Passover ends this Sunday. We'll look at some of the traditions of Passover later on Live at 5.
This Good Friday holiday is a quiet day for many Maritimers, but across our region, thousands of people are working to make sure we'll be safe and healthy. I'm Dan Vio in Charlottetown. We'll meet a few tonight on Live at 5.
It's a girl. Gotcha. Did anybody get you on this April 1st? We'll talk to some people who were gotten later in the show.
Also tonight, a spring tradition. Come along on a tasty tour as we watch the sap flow.
I do want to eat that.
Why not?
And later, it's a significant development in television technology, and ATV is proud to be the first to bring it to the Maritimes. We'll give you a sneak preview later on Live at 5.
All that, plus, of course, the place of the week, because it is Friday. All ahead on this edition of Live at 5. First, though, let's check in with Steve Murphy, working on the ATV Evening News at 6. What's up, Steve?
Right you are, Paul. Well, it looks like those unlicensed gray video gambling machines that have given Cape Breton authorities some trouble are now headed for Halifax. People who operate them are hoping to tap into the lucrative gambling trade in the Halifax metro area. But we'll meet a nervous bar owner who says he doesn't want to have anything to do with them. It's another I-Team exclusive tonight at 6 o'clock. Also on your evening news, in our final look at crime in the Maritimes, we examine a very worrisome trend right across the region. It's youth crime. A lot of Maritimers are worried about the increase in teenage violence and other kinds of juvenile crime. We look at the trends and what can be done about them tonight at 6 o'clock. And also there's violence in the city workers' strike in Moncton. Tensions on the picket line are increasing. Today, one picketer was taken to hospital after being hit by a truck. The union wants charges laid. We have more coming up on the news at 6 o'clock. But right now, it's time for a look at the Easter weekend weather. Here's meteorologist Phil McLaughlin in the ATV Weather Center. Phil?
Thanks a lot, Steve. Well, of course, we're going into the Easter weekend, and everybody's concerned about the weather, and thus far today it hasn't been too bad. A little chilly across northern New Brunswick today, but that'll all be changing. Milder air is coming in. But the big question mark is, of course, as we go into the weekend itself, what about those April showers? Are we going to see any? Well, when I'm back later, of course, we'll talk more about it on the weather maps here on Live at 5. Steve?
Weather at 5:30, then at 6 o'clock, all the day's top stories, including this. Remember? It is now a year since the violent protests by natives broke out in New Brunswick. On Good Friday last year, there were blockades right across the province, sparked by the provincial sales tax controversy. Well, tonight we look back at what happened and ask, has anything changed? That's tonight on the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock, right after Live at 5, which continues now with Paul and Nancy.
Thank you, Steve.
And first at 5 tonight, a holy time.
Good Friday is a day of religious observance for millions of Christians around the world. The ritual of the feet washing was the first ceremony of the Catholic Easter week liturgy in Rome. Yesterday in the Basilica of St. John, Pope John Paul II poured water over the right foot of 12 Roman priests and kissed them in a sign of humility.
And security was high in Jerusalem for the annual Good Friday pilgrimage, but it was sparsely attended. Only about 5,000 people took part in the retracing of Christ's steps to his crucifixion. Normally, the pilgrimage attracts tens of thousands, but many stayed away because of tensions caused by the Hebron massacre.
And, of course, many Christians here in the Maritimes observed a Good Friday in traditional ways. In St. John, worshippers had an alternative kind of service. It's called the ecumenical way of the cross.
ATV Sally Cummings standing by live in St. John, where she attended the service this morning. Sally, how is this service different?
Well, instead of being inside a church, Paul, worshipers gathered outside today for a procession around the city in remembrance of religious intolerance. There were all ages and all denominations in attendance.
Good morning and welcome to the 1994 Way of the Cross, an alternative Good Friday service.
A service held outside the walls of the church and outside the traditional confines of worship.
Good Friday is a moment of introspection and repentance. Our Way of the Cross concentrates on the evils of war and hatred and prejudice. And we have chosen to explore our own faith's complexity in the tragedies of human living.
We're trying to point out to people that there are ones who are continue to be crucified today. And all of the things that Jesus was crucified for, his outspokenness, his faith, his belief in God, his Yahweh, the fact that he offended so many people led to him being crucified. And there are people that are being symbolically crucified in today's society.
Crucify him.
A time to reflect about past and present religious intolerance.
I'm hoping they're thinking about the church's implication in all of the evil that we're speaking of, the war and the hatred, racism, anti-Semitism, that the Christian tradition, unfortunately, has been a manufacturer of many of these isms.
We want people to know how he felt and stuff like that, and how he came down here and he gave up his life for us.
All the prejudices that we have, I mean, even we're not conscious of it, but subconsciously. And I thought it was very, very good for us to examine again, you know, where we stand.
Followers joined the procession as it made its way from churches and synagogues along the way. Many were discouraged with traditional styles of worship.
I wasn't going to come anymore because the traditional services are still not meaningful.
Now, Paul, it's interesting to note that interest in this type of service has grown since it started 6 years ago from just a handful of people to almost triple the attendance today.
Sally, where did this idea come from?
The Way of the Cross was brought here from Edmonton, actually, from Sister Betty Hurley of the Sisters of Charity, and it seems that interest in this kind of service is because it's such a powerful and symbolic type of service.
All right. Thank you, Sally. Nancy?
Well, Paul, the Jewish holiday of Passover ends this Sunday evening. The religious holiday marks a special time for Jewish people and is filled with many traditions dating back thousands of years. ATV's Janice Landry joins us now with more. Janice.
Well, Nancy, I had the great pleasure today of meeting two Jewish families who took some time to teach me about the traditions of the Passover.
Well, they look good anyway.
Well, it's the first time.
This is the first time you
made this particular recipe.
What are these now?
These are just rolls, but they're different than regular rolls because they're not made with flour. At Passover time, we're not allowed to eat any products that rise.
Why is it during Passover that you have to eat things that are unleavened, and what's the reason behind that?
Passover is a holiday that celebrates or commemorates the time when the Jewish people were slaves in Egypt and then were left and were set free. And they wandered through the desert, and in their flight to leave, I should say, they didn't have time to let the bread rise.
The Seder supper is also a Passover tradition. It's a ceremony-style dinner. Seder suppers are held the first 2 evenings of Passover, which began last Saturday.
This is called the Passover Haggadah. It's the book that has the ceremony that we follow. And it's quite a lengthy ceremony. Basically, we have a plate here that's called the Seder plate, and we have different type of foods that we put on, and each has a special purpose. Hi, Zach. Come here. We're just talking about the Seder plate, and I know you know so much about it, and I thought maybe you'd like to...
Yeah, tell me what the egg represents.
The egg represents two things. One thing is the circle of life, end of spring and winter and the seasons. But when you boil an egg, it gets harder to represent that the Jewish people, they were attacked and they were boiled, but they got harder.
They survived. They persevered. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That's great. So what do you think about your mom's first attempt at the rolls?
Oh, we haven't tried them yet.
But he's about to get his chance. Joanna's prepared a special brunch today to celebrate Passover.
Actually, it's going to be like a buffet. Yes. So you could just take your plate and then there's food on the table and food there.
Oh, how nice to see everybody.
The men and boys are wearing traditional Jewish skull caps called yarmulkes for this meal. Tradition is important in these families and is passed on from generation to generation.
Do you think it's important that young people know where their roots come from? Not just yourself being a young Jewish boy, but any young people, that they should talk with their elders so that they know their background?
Yes. There are too many people who are forgetting things such as the Holocaust, and we just can't let that happen.
That young man certainly has a good lease on life, and a very important message for us all, Nancy, that we can certainly learn a lot about each other through these holiday traditions.
And did you learn a lot today, Janice?
Actually, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I knew very little about the holiday of Passover until today. I learned a lot, so much so that actually I would love to go back to that family's house next year for a Seder supper. And if they're watching, I hope you'll have me back. It was a great time, and I'd like to thank them all very much.
All right. Thanks, Janice.
You're welcome.
ATV's Janice Landry in Halifax. And no matter what you are celebrating or remembering today, we hope it is a holy day of reflection for you. Paul.
And today is another day of note, Nancy. It's also April Fools. Coming up on Live at 5, the first family of April Fools is in the Maritimes. For them, the jokes never end.
It was too late. Once she left here, April Fool's over at 12 o'clock, and I was beached.
So she left town, and you can't get her back.
I can't. She's on her way to Guysborough to our cottage now, and I can't do a thing about it. And I've thought of everything I've put...
I couldn't believe it when the Guardian pharmacist asked me, like he could read my mind.
Well, he was expected to be a small baby. Turned out to be 9 pounds and 13 ounces, which is too small.
So that's his April Fool's joke on you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Two friends thought it might have been a joke, and I phoned them about 6 this morning. I got them out of bed.
Jesse Aaron Quartermain was also supposed to arrive 2 weeks ago. Instead, he was born at 3 o'clock this morning, pulling the first April Fool's joke of his life. Georgie and Todd, his proud parents, can probably look forward to many more pranks in the years ahead. And now we're going to meet another family who have proof that April Fool's Day babies can grow up to be pranksters. Heather Proudfoot paid a visit to the Howard household today. Heather?
Well, Paul, you might say the Howard family of Bedford knows how to keep April Fool's Day very well. It started with a daughter who was born 28 years ago on this very day, and it culminated today with another birth notice of sorts. Well, the news appeared on this sign, and on this sign, and even in the personals. Don and Kay are proud to announce the birth of their daughter, April Dawn. April was born April 1st at 12:01 a.m. She weighed a healthy 15 pounds. Dawn and Kay Howard, the proud parents of baby number 9.
We even got a baby basket.
Friends today congratulated them. So, Marvin, what do you make of the sign over there?
Well, I didn't know Don had it in him.
Old Dad, though, was shaking his head.
I have 8 children. That is plenty.
No, they're not the proud parents of 9. They're happy with 8, thanks. Seems a daughter born 28 years ago today has never stopped pulling April Fool's pranks on her parents. Fitting, even her own birth in 1966 was filled with them.
At 11 o'clock, she woke me up. We got to go. We got to go. I said, Kay, please, no joke. She said, this is no joke. We really got to go. When we arrived in the hospital, it wasn't any joke.
Others today were also dabbling in mischief. The coach of the Fredericton Canadiens thought he was about to do a television interview in Sydney when he became the brunt of the French version of April Fool's Day, Poisson d'Avril.
That means April fish. Here you call it April Fool.
And a motorist turned the tables on us.
I thought you might notice that I have your name on our license plate. I also have your cameraman's name.
You have my name on your license plate?
Yeah.
Go on, go on.
Have a look.
You do! Others were doing their own thing, too.
She was ready to sit down. I said, oh, gee, Lucy, you're going to sit on a spider, and she just grabbed her stomach and she jumped.
Meanwhile, back here at the Howard household, they say the most frustrating part of all of this is that the prankster skipped town. They can't get back at her, and that really irks.
She's on her way to Guysborough to our cottage now, and I can't do a thing about it.
So instead, good old Dad pulled out the most flattering picture of daughter Sandy he could find for us to put on TV. Gotcha, Sandy. Love, Dad. Now, Sandy, if you're watching somewhere in the woods in Guysborough, don't worry about us showing that silly picture too much. We only have about a 250,000 viewers watching this program. Paul.
Well, Heather, I know the Howards are really into this. They did it with flamingos.
It's not clear what they'll do next time. Don says that he's going to get his daughter somehow, but he's not tipping his hand.
Great, we look forward to it. Thanks, Heather. Nancy?
Not bad. British newspapers had a field day today pulling their readers' legs in fine April Fool form. Among the yarns printed, a story about a flying bunny and a story that giant worms are eating away at center court at Wimbledon. Oh no. A washing machine maker offered a product that is guaranteed not to lose socks. They said more than 40 million socks disappear each year at a cost of over $1 million. Not bad. Now, because it's Good Friday as well as April the 1st, most people have the day off work, but not everyone. We'll pay tribute to some Maritimers who work through stat holidays when Live at 5 returns.
24-hour service here, and it's holidays, weekends, nights.
It does make you feel good when somebody that you've helped comes back and says thank you. It sort of makes it all worthwhile.
To build a winner, you gotta have hard-working guys you can depend on.
25, that's next year. You'll dance, you'll sing, you'll love the time of your life during Frigidaire's Great Canadian Giveaway. Now's the time to head to your nearest Lounsbury's location and save.
Lounsbury Furniture, a new generation company.
Ponderosa, doing it better, a great deal better.
Right now.
And welcome back to Live at 5. And for those good folks in our ATV News control room and us and thousands of other Maritimers, today was not a holiday. They were working to make sure the rest of us would be safe and healthy.
ATV's Dan Vio introduces us now to a few of them in Charlottetown.
Emergencies don't take holidays, nor do the people who we call on to respond to them. People like Constable Walter Vesey.
I think it's important to me, and I think it's important to the people that we serve, although we're not always appreciated. People would soon be looking for us if we weren't there. I think it's important. Yeah.
Somebody has to man the post, and if my shift falls on it, it's every day of life of a fireman, I guess. I think it's one of the jobs in the world that people like to see you doing nothing.
Alan Tell, Directory Assistance. What place, please?
We never see many of the other people who are always on the job, and there are many whose work helps us enjoy the day off.
A lot of the people working today will get an extra day off later, plus 8 hours pay at halftime. But for many, their work means more than that.
If you're concerned, it sounds like she may be congested up a bit.
Little Kathleen McDonald with an ear infection and her dad Charlie were glad emergency unit nurses, doctors, and clerks were at work today.
Seeing somebody coming back 2 or 3 months later that's recuperated from a bad accident, bad heart attack, some kind of big emergency, and come back and say thank you. It really makes us smile, or even seeing them moving from this department to a department in the hospital and knowing that they're going to be okay really makes the job worthwhile.
Do you miss your holidays and weekends?
I miss my holidays, being home with family, holiday time.
From all of us to all the working people today, thank you. In Charlottetown, Dan Vio, ATV News.
Thank you, Dan. And time to send out some messages of congratulations now. We have all kinds of maritime milestones on this Good Friday. Let's turn the clock back 50 years and meet Carl and Vicki Harvey on their wedding day in 1944. They live in Majorville, New Brunswick. Love and best wishes from 4 children, 8 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren, and Rusty the dog. These folks are marking 60 years together. Joseph and Muriel Davis live in Afton, Antigonish County, Nova Scotia. They have 6 children, 12 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren who send love and best wishes. Another marriage milestone to note for April 1st, Grace and Joe Lees of Spring Hill, Nova Scotia are marking their 61st anniversary today. Congratulations from 17 grandchildren and 15 great-grandchildren.
It's also 60 years together for Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Saunders of Halifax. Family and friends are invited to an open house Saturday afternoon. Congratulations from family and friends. And these folks are John Martin and Mary Campbell of Judic, Inverness County. Judic, thanks, Nancy. John Martin fooled his folks big time exactly 100 years ago today. Happy birthday, John. You know, John and Mary celebrated their 68th anniversary in February, so congratulations on your double milestones from 11 children, 20 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Now, this is Mr. and Mrs. Tony Chesil of Antigonish, and Antigonish is a long way from Czechoslovakia, where they were married 50 years ago tomorrow. They have 6 children, 12 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren who will celebrate this auspicious occasion with a family gathering in July. Congratulations to our milestone couples, and if you're marking a special event in your life today, all the best from all of us here at ATV News.
That was more like a geography lesson for the Maritimes, wasn't it?
Certainly for me.
Lots more to come on the Friday edition of Live at 5, including Phil's Fearless Forecast.
And we also have these stories still to come.
I'm Jonathan Kay. The Information Highway is going to be bringing a new technological advance to your television set before you may have thought. Monday, to be exact. And it's going to happen right here on ATV. But there's something you have to do first. We'll tell you all about it tonight on Live at 5.
I'm Yvonne Colbert on your side in Hants County, Nova Scotia. Tonight with a story about a woman who's been trying since last July to get her damage deposit back. That's coming up later on Live at 5.
I'm Randy McDonald.
I'm Kyle McDonald. I am Black Donald.
What better way to spend the Easter weekend than taking the family into the sugar bush of the Mabou Highlands? Coming up, we'll visit a sugar shack, and boy, is it fun. The story on Live at 5.
And later, the highs and the lows, the weird and the wonderful. Live at 5's exclusive plays of the week.
Rustle up the family and head
For today's
all new, so come and see the new Volkswagens at your nearest VW dealer today.
Hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down.
Hey, orangutans, actually. Easter came a little early for these at Los Angeles Zoo. Their keepers organized a little Easter egg hunt yesterday. The baskets full of treats were a pretty big hit with the primates, and the folks watching, I think, got a kick out of it, too. And I hope you get a blast out of it as well. Orangutans at the LA Zoo. Looks like they're having a good time.
Fascinating to watch them.
Yeah.
I could sit and watch them.
What are these?
Yeah.
Of course, they don't peel bananas anyway, so you don't have to worry about peeling the eggs either.
Throw them in there.
Yeah. Anyway, a long weekend underway now for many, many Maritimers, and Phil McLaughlin's been at it all day trying to figure out what we can expect on each and every day of this long weekend.
And will Maritimers be able to get out on tennis courts for the first time this weekend? Phil?
Hey, I knew that would be your question, Nancy. Yes, it's going to be a great day to be on the tennis courts tomorrow with the sunshine across the Maritimes, and a good day to go off to the sugar bush as well. So let's take a look at the full disk, and we'll find across much of North America what we would call in the weather office circles severe clear for the most part, not too much weather-wise happening. We do have some cloud across eastern Canada on that frontal zone we've been following. A bit of snow in the Ottawa Valley today. That's not nice to hear, but it did happen through the Ottawa Valley. And out to sea, south of the Maritimes, a vigorous system dumping lots of precipitation out over the ocean waters, but of course not to bother us. We got the cloud cover from it. But we did see some sun, some clouds throughout the Maritimes today, so overall, pretty good, and the temperature's certainly nice, particularly in the southern part of the Maritimes. So here's today's weather map. We find that frontal zone just sort of quasi-stationary through the area, producing a bit of cloud cover from time to time. And this system here is the one we were following all the last few days, coming out of the southeastern U.S., and I promised pretty well it wouldn't bother us, but it did. It came up along the western Atlantic and pushed more into the north than we anticipated, and some of the cloud shields spread in over to the southern Maritimes today and didn't allow too much sun to come out in some areas. But nonetheless, it's all clearing out more and more to the east as a ridge of high pressure builds in from the northwest, and that will favor us through the day Saturday going into the Easter weekend. So a sensational day tomorrow, I'm going to call it, with lots of sunshine and reasonable temperatures too. Off to the west, we're watching this system here in the southern part of Manitoba. That could play a role in our weather, and probably will for Easter Sunday. So with your Easter bonnets, you may get a bit wet along with the bunnies on Easter Sunday itself, but we'll worry about that as we get a little closer to it. Looking at today's big satellite image, we go to our east and we find the cloud cover, a few breaks, some sunny periods, and there's the front. It's sort of losing its definition and falling apart. And more off to the west, here's a system that could play a role, as I say, on our weather for the day Sunday, and down through the U.S. for the most part, wall-to-wall sunshine. Here's the jet stream, continues to ridge into the west with the high-pressure cell, and very mild again across the southern prairies in the low 20s again today. In our area, for the most part, we could just say seasonal with the temperatures, so not too bad. Here's the close-up, and here we can see the red enhanced cloud well out to sea and pushing more and more off to the south of Newfoundland. But for our area over the three provinces, the cloud is breaking up more and more, and that'll be the pattern overnight tonight. So putting it all into motion, here's the frontal pattern we had to our north, pushing down towards us. At the same time, this system coming up the western Atlantic. So sort of a in between the two systems, and with that, a fair amount of cloud here and there across the three provinces today. Up to the north, I might add, across northern New Brunswick, temperatures stayed below freezing all day, so not too good for you viewers up that way. So here's the forecast for tonight, a clearing trend across the whole Maritimes tonight, and rather chilly, -10 to the north, and not quite so cold, of course, across to the south as the clouds do roll out. And as we drop that map out of the way, we look at tomorrow, and as I promised, a sensational day, especially for Nancy. She's got a tennis game going. So lots of sunshine across the Maritimes, and look at the temperatures. Nice, we'll take them. And the long-range outlook going into the Easter weekend itself, a little more for the day Sunday. While the system coming in, some rain showers, 80% probability on that, but the bonus is bringing in mild air and brisk southwest winds as well. So we go with an average high of 8 for the day, and I put down here, of course, clocks spring ahead Sunday morning officially at 2 a.m. Into Easter Monday, a fair weather day, sunshine. We could have a few showers to start the day, but ending up with some sunshine and mild still 9. And for Tuesday, more sunshine, and again a high up around 9. So for the weekend, not too bad overall, but Easter Sunday, maybe some showers. Nancy, how do you like that?
I love it. Thanks, Bill. Not bad at all. And this is a sure sign of spring. Things are shaking in maritime sugar bushes. Maple sap is flowing like crazy this season. Among the sugar camps enjoying a bountiful harvest is Black River Products. It's located in the beautiful Mabou Highlands of Cape Breton. ATV's Randy McDonald has just returned from Black River and joins us now live. Randy.
Nancy, the maple syrup business is very weather sensitive. You need nice cool nights and warm sunny days to get the sap flowing. Well, that's exactly what's happening this year, and at Black River, it's the earliest season ever since they went into business a decade ago.
We have about 5,800 taps in about 5,000 trees, and we tap probably a little more than 50 acres. It's all on these incredibly steep hills in the Mabou Highland. This looks like a good spot for this year, for this tree right here. You can actually see the saps are gushing out of it already. We're getting an incredibly heavy flow of sap today. The way most people are tapping in these days who are maple syrup makers is they use plastic hoses and spigots that are plastic, and it's a whole sealed system. So you put it in the tree, there you go, you're tapped in. Although it looks like this is your backyard swimming pool, this is our large container for sap. The sap's coming in from the woods at about 250 gallons an hour. Wow. And we have about 30 miles of pipeline out in the woods.
This is real Cape Breton hardwood, and this is what we use to stoke the fire up to make the maple syrup. And it's really hot in there.
Where you boil the syrup is in the evaporator, of course, and it's a very large boiler. It's wood-fired. The fire gets blown underneath these big pans, and it's like 2 big square pots. That's nice and clear. You can see it's clear and very nice light color as well.
Okay, kids, it's toffee time.
All right.
So we make maple syrup, maple butter, maple candies, maple toffee on snow for the open houses.
Now, this may be a dentist's worst nightmare, but for my money, Mother Nature just doesn't get any better than this.
It's great.
How is it?
It's good.
Would you rather have that, or would you rather go to a candy store?
Would rather have this.
Here you go, guys.
Boy.
Dig in.
Now, many sugar camps are staging open houses this weekend, including Black River. The list throughout the Maritimes is too long to mention, but there's one I will mention. It's Wyvern Farms in Collingwood, Cumberland County, and the reason they get special mention is because our show's production assistant, that's her family's farm, and her name, appropriately enough, is Natalie Sweet. Nancy, Paul?
Now, Randy, I have to ask what you're going to make for breakfast tomorrow morning for those gorgeous boys of yours.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for that compliment, Nancy. Listen, they're pancake crazy, and we had to leave there with not 1, but 2 bottles of maple syrup, 1 for each of them.
Sounds good. Paul and I will be there.
All right, you're invited.
Thanks, Randy. ATV's Randy McDonald in Sydney.
A lot of fun, eh? Never been to a sugar off. I guess that's what they call them. Have you been?
Actually, the only one I've been to was in Quebec when I was there in an immersion one time, and they're called cabane à sucre. Cabin of sugar.
In any event, looks like a great time.
It's a ball, yeah.
Must indulge sometime. Lots more still to come on Live at 5, including a TV reporter who gets more than he bargained for when he does a story on a German Shepherd. We'll also have the plays of the week and an exciting announcement that will change the way you view us. And next, Yvonne Colbert on your side.
Back, and it's been a lot of time running around to the sheriff's department and getting a lawyer and going to tenancy board and all that. It's been a lot of money and time. You working?
world treat to sight a bald eagle in its natural habitat, but only rarely do we glimpse an entire flock of these majestic birds of prey. That's exactly the scene ATV videographer George Reeves captured this afternoon. Several bald eagles were enjoying a leisurely fish lunch on the Bredor Lakes in Waikagama. The island is one of North America's most popular nesting areas. Spectacular sight, these birds of prey captured in Cape Breton today. Well, one should always treat wild animals with respect and keep distances, and you know, so it goes with what we consider domesticated animals as well. We should warn you, the videotape we are about to show you might disturb some. It is a segment from a story done by one of our affiliates in the United States. Now, the story was a simple one. A police dog is about to become part of the department's Goodwill and Drug Education program at local schools, but the story took an unexpected and painful twist for the reporter. Look at this.
They can pet him, they can love on him. It just helps us get to the kids to tell them that they shouldn't use drugs.
Pedro also has his unpredictable side. We were told he would only attack when given a special command or when his handler was threatened. Pedro is not exactly man's best friend in this scene. As we were shooting this story, this attack seemed unprovoked. Police say Pedro is just a little nervous about his new surroundings and should settle down soon. They're still hoping to use him for visits to area schools.
Well, as you can see, the reporter was okay with the addition of about 9 or 10 stitches, and Steve Murphy, not to question the reporter's story there, but I found it interesting at the end. He suggested that the police program would go ahead with the dogs in the school. One wonders if he shouldn't have been a little more critical, or at least been warning folks that this might not be such a great idea.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in.
Yeah. What's coming up tonight at 6?
We're dealing right at the moment with a breaking news situation in Newcastle, where a building, in fact, the building that houses the ATV offices in the Miramichi is burning. It is Dickerson's Drugstore on Henry Street in downtown Newcastle. The entire downtown has been cordoned off, and ATV Bureau Chief Peter Ryan has gotten out of the building, apparently after evacuating the building of a number of people who were inside. So once again, we will have more on this coming up on our news at 6 o'clock tonight. But a major structural fire in downtown Newcastle is burning in Dickerson's Drugstore, which, among other things, contains the ATV offices in the Miramichi. Also coming up in your news tonight, anybody who's worried about those illegal gambling machines will want to see this I-Team exclusive. The gray video gambling machines that have caused some problems on Cape Breton are coming to Halifax. Meet one nervous bar owner who wants nothing to do with them tonight at 6 o'clock.
Everything.
Also tonight, will international TV coverage help in tracking down missing Marcia LeBlanc? It's almost 5 months since Marcel Cormier was murdered and Marcia was abducted. Now, the family turns to unsolved mysteries. Story at 6 o'clock. And also on your evening news, does teen crime have you worried? Well, if it does, you're not alone. Tonight, in the final part of our 5-part look at crime in the Maritimes, we look at the troublesome trend that is gripping our region, youth crime. Find out what's being done about it tonight on the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock, right after Live at 5, which continues now on your side.
Thanks, Stephen. Tonight on your side, a story about trying to recover your damage deposit.
That's right, Nancy. Now, this woman has an order from the Residential Tenancies Board, but so far that hasn't helped her recover her money. But this story does provide one very important piece of information for tenants and landlords alike.
Well, I did everything. I cleaned the apartment like I was supposed to and left everything, and I had witnesses and stuff, and I just feel that I should get it back.
The problem Christina Han is talking about arose when she decided to move out of this Dartmouth apartment building. She gave written notice May 9th of last year that she intended to vacate her apartment at the end of the month. At the time, she wasn't aware there would be any problem getting her damage deposit back.
They told me it would take 2 weeks for them to get it all ready for me, and I went back to get it, and she said, it's too bad I'm not getting it back. She said, because we didn't give them proper notice.
So Christina filed a complaint against the building owner, Norcan Holdings, and Kurt Norquist. No one representing the landlord showed up, so the board ruled in her favor and ordered that she be repaid her damage deposit plus interest. The total amount, $212.12. Shortly after that, Norcan filed a counter-complaint, saying she had not given the required 30 days notice. The board told Norcan in order to consider its position, it required proof she had been given a copy of the Tenancies Act and signed a lease. That was not forthcoming, so the original order to give her back her damage deposit remained. But so far, despite a visit to the sheriff's office, she has not received it. Do you have any plans for the money if you ever get it?
I really need it.
All right, before we get to solving the problem, let me ask this. She didn't give 30 days notice, right? So why did the board rule in her favor?
Well, this is applicable only to Nova Scotia at this point, Nancy. But in Nova Scotia, the Residential Tenancies Act says that you cannot rent a residential premises unless you give the tenant a copy of the act within 10 days. Now, the landlord in this case says he did that. She says that he did not, but in any event, he didn't get a written acknowledgement that she had received the act. So when that happens, the act says if you don't give them a copy, they can give you notice of 1 day. Like they can say 1 day I'm moving out and be gone the next day, and there's not a darn thing that you can do about it. So it's very important that landlords and tenants alike be aware of that part of the act in Nova Scotia because it can aid both of them in certain circumstances.
No question.
Now, because she had never signed a lease and never got the act, and because the landlord didn't show up at the Residential Tenancies Board hearing, that's why the ruling was in her favor.
I see. Okay, now to this specific problem, did we solve it?
Well, it's supposedly the resolution is in the works here. The $212.12. I spoke to the landlord today, Kurt Norquist, and he tells me that just yesterday he sent out a money order for that amount to the sheriff's office. So we're going to talk to the sheriff's office next week, wait till the thing gets processed, and to Christina, and then we'll sort of update you once she actually gets her money.
All right. But you also mentioned that you taught someone else something today.
Well, when I spoke to the landlord, he kept saying she didn't give me 30 days notice, and that's why I didn't pay, because look at the act, it says you've got to have 30 days notice. But it goes back to that business about the Residential Tenancies Act, and if you don't give the tenant a copy of the act, then they aren't required to give you 30 days notice. It's that simple. So that's a very important stipulation for everyone involved in the renting process.
Sure
That's
thing.
right.
All right, thanks, Yvonne. If you have a problem you think Yvonne may be able to help you with, here's how to contact her.
You can give us a call. The area code is 902. The number is 493-3404, and please leave a brief message on the machine. Or you can write Post Office Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4.
And ATV's Yvonne Colbert is on your side. Is the Easter Bunny coming to your sons this weekend?
I'm pretty sure he is. I think he'll
good.
hop along to our house at some point.
All right, thanks, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
Happy Easter. Here's Paul.
Still to come as we hop along, our big announcement, TV like you've never seen before. And next...
Hey, baby, it's showtime. It's rock and roll time. Drive the lane, baby. Dipsy-doos, that's for real.
Yes, we get Vitality Plus from a terrific cast of characters in the Live at 5 exclusive Plays of the Week. Next.
From sunny Australia, Austral canned fruit in light syrup or...
I'm a little bit nervous right now, not because I have to speak, but because I gotta get in this thing here and head up there. Oh my God.
Ah, yes, the great one who's never loved to fly, doesn't much like heights either, but he braved the trip 35 feet up to sign his likeness in Los Angeles yesterday. The giant Gretzky cutout was a promotion by a sports card company. You might recall they did the same thing last year for Mickey Mantle. Now it's time for the Live at 5 Friday exclusive, the Atlantic Chrysler Dealers Plays of the Week. And are we ready to fire up that videotape machine? I guess we are. And those Cleveland Indians, they'll burn anything else to keep the bugs away. They did have to extinguish that fire eventually. Hey, John Vanderwall of the Expos, he sure did look good on this catch in left field, but I don't think he set fire with the Expos brass because they sold him to Colorado yesterday. Here's the best catch of the week. Chris James of the Texas Rangers. Nice dive there. And we've got some more great extension. Terry Wells of the Pistons with an incredible shot. Anyone for a little alley-oop here? Muggsy Bogues up to Larry Jansen. Let's see you do that one, Grandma. And Gary Payton of the Sonics to Sean Kemp. And Gary Payton also gets Mr. Hustle this week. Here he is after a steal, controlling the ball, and from his knees getting the alley-oop for Kendall Gill. Folks, fasten your seatbelts, adjust your rearview mirrors for this one. David Robinson, alley-oop, reverse jam. Oh, that one's bodacious. And, oh, it's Mr. Carter. It's Mr. Carter, and hopping Horseshack. It's time for the hit parade, folks. And here we go. Watch the linesman left of your screen, up and over. And Nicholas Lidstrom Don't watch. Sorry about that, Bob. You're going to be okay here. Watch this. Yeah, right on. Claude Lapointe takes out Nick Lidstrom. How about that padded wall? You know, if you hit it just the right way, it can be just a little painful. You stay down for the count, man. This doesn't look like a ride on the merry-go-round either. Maverick Tim Legler wipe out, and the hit parade continues as Roberto Duran, hands of stone, applies his touch to Terry Thomas. Nose job by Duran. Oh, Terry, maybe he'll hit you with a left to straighten that thing out. On the country, Martok isn't the only ski hill in the Maritimes for the Slush Cup here. Here we prevent Brookvale in PEI. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it's time for that coveted green dunce cap this week to Sergio Messo of the Canucks for that swing of jumping Joey Koser. That'll get you kicked out every time. Some of these athletes, they should learn that Aerosmith tune, Get a Grip, you know what I mean? And fans in Dallas, they wanted to get a grip of Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, put him in that star and wring his neck for letting Coach Jimmy Johnson go. Jerry, being what he is, didn't show up. Hey, you gotta dance with the one who brung you, they say. Just make sure you can keep up with these dance steps. The plays of the week. Hot dog. That guy's pretty good. Tune in Monday when we'll unmask and unveil some more really ducky highlights.
Ducky, and that was Ducky.
That's Ducky.
Well, wait till you see this. Coming up, Live at 5 takes a trip on the information highway. And then meteorologist Phil McLaughlin with what you can expect if you're traveling the highway to get home for Easter weekend. The wake-up weather is next. One of the world's best-known album rock bands is back on the road. Pink Floyd, whose classics include Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall, launched their 1994 U.S. tour at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami last night. This was the first stop on a nationwide tour that has so far sold more than 2 million tickets for 46 shows. Pink Floyd's newest album, The Division Bell, is their first studio release in 7 years and is set to hit record stores within the next week.
Incredible. And you know, there was much ado about Meatloaf earlier this year, with his reemergence onto the scene. But these guys are really quite amazing. I remember back in the radio days, it was a kind of a monthly thing. We'd check to see if Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album was still on the Billboard Top 100. I think they set some kind of a record. I think that particular album was on like the Billboard Top 100 for like 10 years. Which is just incredible. And for all, it may still be in the top 200, but the people who love Pink Floyd love them a lot.
Cult following, eh?
So it should be very interesting. I guess they're coming to Montreal, too. I don't have the date for that, but I'm sure Pink Floyd fans already know and are probably already looking into tickets.
And you know, the people who like Phil McLaughlin like him a lot.
Sure they do.
And for good reason. Phil, what have you got for us?
Oh, I've got lots of Easter treats here on the weather board. The cloud we see here in the latest satellite image is finally slowly moving off to the east more and more and thinning out, so that's a good trend. So here we have the clear skies coming down from Quebec into the northern part of the Maritimes, and that'll be the pattern. Wake up today, Saturday, going into the Easter weekend in earnest, a smile on the face. Starting off with sunshine, plenty of sunshine through the day, just a few clouds perhaps over Cape Breton way at wake-up time. That's if you don't sleep in now, Saturday, I know, but a pretty good morning to wake up. Chilly, though, -10 to the north, -4 across the southern part of the Maritimes. And for the day itself, well, a sensational day through the day Saturday, wall-to-wall sunshine for the most part, and there you can see the temperatures. I hope you find one close to where you live again. And the long-range outlook for Sunday, some rain coming in form of showers, it looks like, high around 8. And again, a reminder, the clock spring ahead 1 hour Sunday morning. And for the day Monday, some showers getting out, sunshine coming back, but mild highs at 9. And for Tuesday, a blend of cloud and sun, and a high at 9 and mild. I knew I'd get it out right. Have a good Easter weekend, whether or not. Back to you, Paul and Nancy. And Nancy, enjoy the tennis match.
Thanks, Phil.
Well, you know, the advance of the information highway through the Maritimes is about to result in major changes here at ATV.
And you are going to see a big difference at home. As you may know, in many parts of the region, we're already broadcasting in stereo. Well, now, new computer technology and the information highway have made it possible for us to be the first television station in Canada to broadcast in 3D.
ATV's Jonathan Kay joins us now live from Halifax. Jonathan, how's this going to work?
Well, beginning Monday, all ATV programming is going to be broadcast in 3D. It'll work with any color television set. You don't have to have cable. It will work on cable or with an antenna, but you'll need a pair of glasses like these ones. After weeks of installing and aligning special equipment and hooking into the information highway, our technicians are ready to flip the switch that will open up a whole new dimension for ATV viewers, the third dimension.
Well, on Monday, to make a long story short, all we have to do is push the button. It puts the other transmitter on the air, and we are 3D. But you do need these glasses to see 3D.
A mass mailing of cardboard 3D glasses is underway. They'll be in mailboxes across the Maritimes Monday morning. But some viewers think they'll take some getting used to. Would you wear those in your house?
Yeah, probably. Probably not out in public, but in the house, sure.
Would you watch Live at 5 with those on?
Yes.
Now, what do you think? Could you get people to wear those in your house watching TV?
Probably the privacy of their own home, but I like out in public, I don't think too many people wear it. So, yeah.
Here's a look at some of the stories ATV reporters around the Maritimes are
Viewers who've seen a sneak preview of the technology say they'll wear them all the time.
Oh, it's just incredible. You know, you talk about in-your-face television. This is it. That's amazing.
Report, so I know you did that. Not all programs are produced in 3D. Computer equipment here at the station will simulate the 3D component of the signal.
I can't really show you, but with my index finger over here is that when
But many shows, including Live at 5, will be shot with special 3D cameras.
Well, we've got two lenses, and we really have to keep the subject in focus twice.
So it's a bit of a challenge, but you're sure you're up to it?
Oh, I think we can handle it.
And the big advantage is going to be what?
That the viewer will actually be there. He'll actually be able to experience an event.
Now, from the ATV News Center at every city and town in the Maritimes.
The control room staff has been rehearsing with the new technology, which makes graphics and movements seem as if they're flying right off the screen. They say it'll take some getting used to.
I think the hardest thing would be getting used to the animation and the words and so on, flying over your head as they're coming in and going out. And there seems to be things flying all over the room.
And that's going to be one of the biggest things we're going to have to get used to. In fact, during the first few weeks of this project, there will be warnings before some television shows and some of our news stories, because some viewers might find it unsettling to see objects flying out of their TV sets and all over the room. One other warning, too, if young children are going to be wearing these glasses, or you have house pets, who, by the way, can see this 3D effect even without the glasses, you should keep them about 15 feet back from your television set.
Yeah, and Jonathan, yeah, it's amazing. I guess anybody who's seen it agrees that this is just an incredible advance, right?
Well, incredible is probably just the word for it, Paul, especially today.
You're right, you are, Jonathan. Don't make any drastic moves. I don't want to be thrown aback here, Jonathan.
We'll be mailing those out.
Well, I guess we should move on to the prime time lineup for the last time in 2D, folks. Here it is. Starts at 6:30 tonight with Full House, and then it's Murphy Brown at 7, Boy Meets World at 7:30, it's Step by Step at 8 o'clock, and then at 8:30, Nurses, our ATV movie tonight, The Guardian. Great flick. And at 11, it's Diamonds.
And Easter Monday, a holiday for many and a holy day for some, a day of reflection and celebration for Christians around the world. The Toronto Blue Jays home opener is on ATV Monday afternoon. As a result, we're scheduled to go to air at 5:30 Monday, so we will see you then.
And we hope you enjoy the rest of your Good Friday, and April Fool's is now officially over. That's it for now. We'll see you Monday after the ball game. Have a great weekend, everybody. The news continues in ATV. Here's Steve Murphy. Steve?
Thank you, Paul. Tonight, the Mean Machines, gambling guru Trigger's Nervous Jitters.
I think that, you know, they've got the Cape Breton wrapped up, and I think they're looking at coming into Halifax, obviously a big area, a lot of machines. And
turning to TV to help solve the Marcia mystery.
It's something real big that had happened, that it shouldn't have happened, and I think it's a mystery to myself. It is a mystery.
And Angels with Dirty Faces, youth crime in the Maritimes.
I really am worried about the way the young people are behaving today. I truly am.
Now, from the #1 news team in Atlantic Canada, the ATV Evening News.
Good evening. Breaking news topping the newscast tonight. There is a major fire burning in downtown Newcastle tonight. These pictures just in from ATV's Peter Ryan. fire broke out about an hour ago in Dickinson's drugstore on Henry Street, which contains, among other things, the offices of ATV News. Reporter Peter Ryan phoned in this fire around 5 o'clock. He then helped to move about a dozen young children safely out of a dance studio also in the building. Ryan told me just a couple of minutes ago 4 of those firefighters suffered minor injuries after they went into the building and then quickly came out. It appears the fire was initially concentrated in a second-story denture clinic. Now, at last word, the adjacent buildings you saw there, which are department stores and other retail outlets, are in some danger but are not on fire. And we understand other fire departments from nearby Nelson, Miramichi, and Chatham are also responding to the fire. On to other news now. The man who owns many
over. The sales tax issue goes to court 3 weeks from now.
Was what happened last Good Friday with the blockades a wake-up call to the government?
New Brunswick's position at the time, and is still a consistent one, that what we had proposed, and we have proposed, and has been in place since, is no different than every other province in this country.
What is the relationship between First Nations people in New Brunswick and the government?
Well, I think it's somewhat strained. I don't know if the situation's ever going to be the way it was before. I mean, the situation wasn't all that great to start with.
The Union of New Brunswick Indians are preparing themselves for this court battle.
Well, I think if they don't resolve the issue, I guess in the best interest of the First Nations people coming up with this court case, and with the land claim issue being another, I guess, possible situation, conceivably, those things could be come to light in the same sort of manner did last year.
And so we'll have to wait to see what happens when the government and New Brunswick Native people go to court over the sales tax issue. Of course, along with land claims and native self-government, this is an issue that could take a long time to settle. We'll take a break. Come back with meteorologist Phil McLaughlin and your weather forecast, and then something to top off your Easter weekend newscast here in just a minute.
What makes a Dairy Queen frozen Easter cake so special? Because it's all dressed up with our finest treat, delicious Dairy Queen chocolate and vanilla soft serve. Plus, there's a layer of chocolate fudge and chocolate crunch. But the icing on the cake is you can get it decorated our way or your way. Dairy Queen makes Easter dinner dessert a piece of cake. We treat you right. Dairy Queen.
Staring into his black coffee, he said, "I need change." Well, I said, why not try new Irish cream coffee mate, or hazelnut coffee mate, or amaretto coffee mate? But he said, but nothing, I said. These new coffee mate flavors change everyday coffee into specialty coffee. Try one, I said. Oh, it's very, very good, he said, but I need change, like dimes and nickels. Oh, I said, but then they towed his car. Coffee mate makes your cup of coffee taste great.
Master Dealers, making you feel just right. Atlantic Master Dealers, making you feel just right.
At Mazda, either way you win. Get a minimum discount of up to $1,500 or a deal on a Mazda personal lease from only $249 for the 626 Chronos, from only $199 for the Protege, and from only $149 for the B-Series truck.
Atlantic Master Dealers, making you feel just right.
They're ready to roll, so you can drive away with the savings. McDonald Pontiac Buick has just made a special purchase of 50. That's right, 50 new 1994 four-door Grand Ams. Drive away with a smart lease of $269 a month or pay only $16,425. Every Grand Am is fully equipped with 6-cylinder engine, anti-lock brakes, driver's side airbag, automatic transmission, plus much more. Catch them while you can. Selection is at its best. Drive the savings home today in a new 1994 Pontiac Grand Am at McDonald Pontiac Buick in Moncton. See us in St. Stephen.
Stormy weather has hit much of Europe, causing delays for people who are traveling this Easter weekend. In fact, in the Netherlands, as we're showing you here, the traffic was backed up when high winds blew over. That's blew over 70 camping vans and trailers. A number of people were slightly injured. Same storm system killed at least 5 people in Ireland and Spain. It's time now for our weather. Meteorologist Phil McLaughlin is here. Is it just me, or does it not seem that Good Friday is generally a gray and dreary day, perhaps more so than today was? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the general feeling, because I think most people want the Good Friday day to be a nice day, because it's finally spring, the first holiday weekend of the spring season, heading towards summer. But sometimes, yeah, it is kind of dreary, but today wasn't too bad. Cool northern New Brunswick, but elsewhere mild and quite pleasant.
All right, and here with the big picture,
yeah,
filling you in, so to speak, is Phil.
Have a look at it. And there's the big full disc of the situation, and there you can see across North America, again, today, not too much weather-wise to talk about. Plenty of clear skies across the southern part of the continent, across the U.S. and up into western Canada, and I might say quite mild in all those areas, if not warm. Into southern BC again today, temperatures into the low 20s. But across the eastern part of the country, we have a fair amount of cloud cover here and there, a bit of snow at Regina, Winnipeg, the Lakehead, the Ottawa Valley today as well. But we here in the Maritimes, we just had a bit of cloud to contend with, and overall, not too bad for the Good Friday day itself. So for today's weather map, here's what we have. This stationary front just lying across the Maritimes, and that kicked up a little bit of cloud, although it is losing its definition and falling apart as the day does wear on, the evening does wear on as well. But what we have is a system off to the south of the Maritimes. That pushed in quite a bit of cloud across the southern half of the Maritimes, and still is, but it's slowly making its way towards Newfoundland, and this ridge of high pressure will come in and clear out our skies and set up a good start to the weekend anyway for the day's Saturday. But we are watching out to the west in the prairies and the Lake Winnipeg area. This system here getting organized to come in for the day's Sunday, and that could make a wet day, Easter Sunday, starting off dry but ending up wet, no doubt. So here's the big image across the continent. Plenty of cloud cover again to the south of the Maritimes, and just broken to scattered clouds, I guess we could say, across the other areas of the province or the Maritimes. And here's this corridor cloud thinning out more and more, and we go off to the west, and here we pick up this disturbance, and that's the weather player for the day Sunday. But once that gets out of here, back into fair weather for the most part for Easter Monday itself. Here's the jet stream. Continues this high ridge over the western part of the continent with the high-pressure cell building out there in mild, as I said earlier, with the temperatures, and across the rest of the country again today. Almost seasonal, except for northern New Brunswick, where the temperature just hovered just below that freezing mark all day today. Here's a close-up image. We can find most of our cloud cover, and the precipitation stayed well out to sea south of the Maritimes, but we did have the cloud off and on throughout the day, a few breaks in that, and of course some sunny breaks did get through as well. Putting it all into motion, we'll find this corridor cloud we've been watching push down to the south across the Maritimes with time, and off to the coast along the western Atlantic. The system came up a little farther than we anticipated and pushed the cloud cover in as well over the southern Maritimes. So we're sort of in the squeeze play scenario. Bit of cloud, bit of sun, but the temperature's not.
You have to be able to move them around. You have to play with them. They're softer construction.
And that's hats. Coming up tomorrow night here in the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock, we're dockside as HMCS Halifax sets sail for her first peacekeeping mission in the Adriatic off former Yugoslavia. It is an Easter weekend goodbye tomorrow on the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock with Janice Landry and Jonathan Graver. That's our news for now. For my colleagues on both sides of our cameras, I'm Steve Murphy. Thank you and good night from the ATV News team. Have a very pleasant Easter weekend. Good night, Jonathan.
Boy Meets World tonight at 7:30 on ATV.
Okay, mister. Drop my son's underwear.